The man himself is sort of slouching a little. He has a long trilby hat, leather coat, dungaree trousers. He's just holding the gun steadily.
If you're gonna try to kill us, it wouldn't be the first time tonight. We just want to have a conversation. As I just put my hands up to my side and I try to make myself look less like a threat.
He looks you over. Well, I have to admit, a guy and two broads walking in. You're a very strange-looking hitman if that's who you are.
If I was a hitman, would I try to come in here and talk to you to your face?
Nah, he takes a swig of whiskey, his hand shaking a little. But he's still holding the gun on you.
This is not the first time, not even the first time tonight a gun's been pointed at my head, so, could you share? I point to the whiskey.
You can roll me an influence of a check. That's rolling your charisma, Fred.
That's gonna be a 19.
The man looks at you for a second. He doesn't lower the gun, but he does sort of reach for the table, put down his glass for a second, sort of one-handed, pick up a bottle of whiskey from somewhere, and sort of just gently shove it in your direction. Sure, have a drink. Let's all sit and have a little drink.
Might as well. Need me to lock the door? You seem a little on edge.
Are there chairs that we can sit down in there?
Yes, Georgette, there are, and as you find a chair and sit, again, knowing your skill set, you're an accountant. Yeah, definitely a lot of files. Case files, they must be. All sorts of things. Lots of receipts as well. Very messy, very unorganized. Oof.
I just realize how much I want that drink right now, so I help and get some glasses out for wherever I can find them and get some drink in those glasses for all of us, and then sit down, and I just start sipping it and looking out the window, slightly disinterested perhaps, but I'm really just trying to calm down.
And again, Liz, oddly enough, all this helps. This is more like it, isn't it? A silly detective's office, a nice glass of whiskey. That's normal. That's what life's normally like.
Yeah. Just breathe, just drink.
The man looks at all three of you, lowers the gun just a little, quickly takes his own sip of whiskey again, and says, "What do you want? Just quickly. Just speak."
We're looking for someone you may have had contact with. We have no beef with you.
Oh yeah? Really? Really? No beef with me? Who fucking sent you? Who do you work for? You work for someone. Everyone does.
Everyone always works for someone, including you, isn't that right?
I try and work for, at least people who aren't so... yeah, alright. Looking for someone. Who are you looking for? I'm not really taking on new cases at the moment.
Christian Starker.
He seems to pale a little and take another sip of whiskey. Yeah. Yeah, you called earlier, didn't you? I'm not that stupid. That was you, wasn't it, madam?
And as he's obviously picking up on me, just looking away, I just look at him and I say, "Yeah, that was me. Yeah. Look, we're sent here under threat of our own lives. We don't want to make a mess of anyone else's. We just need to find this man and bring him back to... We work for Mr. Pickett at the Sahara Casino."
Oh, fuck. Really? You work for him? Oh, that's great. That's fucking great. Fucking great.
We're still not hitmen. Look, we're just looking for this guy, so if you can give us anything, we'll just get out of your hair and try and find him ourselves, okay?
He gets up. You see him move to his desk. He takes out a suitcase. Looks like he's packing. He starts putting something in there. Listen, you're out of luck, I'm afraid. You're looking for Starker. He'll be dead by now. Long dead, and I just get out of Vegas. That's what I'm doing. I just get out of Vegas. You don't want to follow the trail to its end, I assure you.
What makes you say that? Why are you so sure he's dead? I mean, we found dead bodies, which I'm taking you're not surprised of. But why do you think he's dead too? Who else is looking for him? What has he done?
I don't fucking know what he's done, but I know he... Look, you really want to fucking know? You want to know? Because I'm going to give you a name, and that's it. And that's it. I'm not giving you any more. They've already had a word with me, and I need to get out of town. I'm getting out of town. He's pausing. He looks at you, then Georgette. Howard. Ryan Howard. That's the guy who was having people follow him.
Why was he having people follow him?
I don't fucking know, and I don't care.
Who is he?
You don't know.
And what the hell has he got to do with Starker? All we're trying to do is find a damn painter.
Georgette. Ryan Howard. Don't you recall... You suddenly recall, wasn't there some paintings back in the gallery? There was some initials on some of those paintings. One of them was R.H. Ryan Howard. You know the name Ryan Howard. Not very well. But again, it's a bit of an awkward connection because you've heard that name in some of your circles. The circles you definitely don't talk about to people who aren't in those circles, but you have heard the name.
I'm just gonna kind of look at the detective. Ryan Howard, isn't that a painter?
He ain't a painter. He don't paint, he collects. Yes, Ryan Howard. A little bit more for you, Georgette, is that, isn't he a collector? I think he was in the war, and he collects things. Collects things that people in your circles find very interesting.
I'm gonna get up while he seems preoccupied. Is he still, packing away his suitcase?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna kind of nonchalantly get up and kind of just start pacing around his office and kind of gazing around to see if there's anything unique sitting around while, he's panic packing.
You do that. Fred, Liz, you notice Georgette suddenly is, scouting around the office. But what do you two do?
At this point, I'm still trying to keep him talking. I'm trying to keep a conversation going so that, it's not just him leaving and all we have is a name and nothing else to go on. So, about this Ryan Howard, what, did he threaten you or some shit?
Ooh, did he threaten me? Yeah, he did. Yeah. Look, you wanna go find Ryan Howard? Get a fucking phone book. He's got a nice place somewhere. I'm not saying anymore. He starts looking quite panicked.
Once again, I put my hands up, but this time one of them's got a nice, a highball with a finger of whiskey in it. Listen, I'm not gonna do anything. All we're trying to do is find a guy for our boss before we lose our lives and other things important to us.
And I'm telling you, give up, go home. You got a name. You can follow that name. You can do whatever the fuck you people want, but I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it.
Does this have anything to do with something like a soup man?
What?
I kind of swallow my whiskey very suddenly. It's not coughing.
Georgette, you look around, and you notice on one of the shelves, Polaroids. You look through a couple, nothing interesting, but once again, there you go. Those cars. Both the cars. Once again, you are reminded that there are two pictures of cars, two different sorts of car, and you've seen both tonight. There they are again. He's obviously got some spares lying around.
What does this Ryan Howard have over you that has you so paranoid?
He has connections. He knows people. And they ain't your normal... Yeah. Look. I was... Okay, you're not gonna fucking leave. I see you looking at the photos. Yeah, he's been sending people after the painter. I don't know why. The painter thought someone was following him, thought someone was sending him threatening messages, wanted to meet with him. He didn't want to meet with them. So, I did some investigating. And yeah, people were following him, following cars, watching, waiting. I told him best hide somewhere, and he had somewhere to hide. He had some broad he knows, I don't know. And then they came to have a word with me, and I'm done. They weren't going to give a second warning.
I'm, at this point, pouring myself a second glass of whiskey, and I'm starting to get tipsy. I feel just this kind of despair of an impossible situation. I'm gonna just follow these people around, but I'm just sitting there thinking to myself that we're never gonna be able to do this, and I just keep drinking.
Yes, and the worst thing is, Fred's right. You could just leave Vegas, but you'll be leaving behind Joan. You could go to the hotel and try and get her out. But Mr. Pickett and his people will be there. They'll know you won't make it, you don't think.
Why don't we just tell Pickett about Ryan and can he take it over from there?
I mean, if he's got such good connections as this guy here is saying that he does, I mean, I don't see why our boss wouldn't know about him.
Yeah, and maybe just, decide to back off or something if it's that bad. Can we use your phone?
The guy nods. Yeah, sure, knock yourself fucking out. And looks like he's finished packing.
Why don't you call Mr. Pickett and say to Fred, but I look to Georgette as well.
I don't think it's gonna be that easy. There has to be more to it than what he's leading on. There has to be a reason he wanted us to do all this for him.
Of course there is, but of course we're never going to be told what it is, but we found information. We're one step closer to finding this jackass, and I'm going to head over to the phone with just this uncharacteristic slump to my shoulders.
You go and pick up the phone. You ring the number you were given to ring when you had Mr. Starker in hand. A voice answers. You know it's him. He has a very distinctive voice. Ah, Fred. About time. Where is my painter?
Apparently with this Ryan Howard. Called to see if you knew anything about him. We've been chasing leads all night.
Yeah? And how we doing? Ryan Howard. Of course I know him.
Alright, you still need us to get him back from this dude? I figured if you had all the connections, you would know how to get in contact with him.
Yeah. You guys. You seem to be forgetting your situation. You're doing me a favor. So go and look up his name and address book. I'm glad you've confirmed it's him. Just checking you've confirmed he's involved, yes.
Yeah, we got a PI here that's got photos of the people that's been tailing him. Bunch of dead bodies at the gallery. Weird-ass thing at his apartment with some weird broad. We're just doing the best we can.
Oh, sounds fun. Well, it sounds like you're doing your jobs. So get to fucking work. Ryan Howard's got a fucking name in the address book. If Ryan Howard's got him, go to his place and say hello. Don't call me again until you're either dead or you've got my man. Understood, Fred?
Yes, sir.
Good. Remember, you're doing me a favor. You're expendable until you succeed. I didn't know Ryan had him right away, but remember I told you I thought people were after him who weren't us? Guess you guys were just a little slow. That's a shame, but don't worry, you can make it up. You've still got time. Make sure it's done before midnight. That could be problematic otherwise, and I won't be happy.
Shit. Alright, we're gonna get going then.
You better, Fred. You really don't want to make me unhappy. He hangs up.
Well, fuck. I just slammed the receiver back down on the phone.
What's wrong?
Well, he knows this Ryan Howard says to look it up in the address book, and we have until midnight to get it figured out.
I'm gonna look over to the detective. Well, do you have an address book that we can borrow?
He throws an address book at you, quite roughly. Yeah, I'm done helping. You got your man. Honestly, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you, ladies. You work for Mr. Pickett. You're fucked. I don't, though, so I'm going. So, get out of my office, please. Take the address book with you.
Gee, thanks.
I kind of want to say something, but I feel like whatever I'm going to say is just going to be negative. I'm trying real hard not to think of those eyes, but I just mutter that to me. Those eyes were just looking at me, and I take another sip of whiskey.
Thanks for the booze.
The detective looks at you and just nods, Fred, and then he does look at Liz and then Georgette for a few seconds more, and then mutters under his breath and quickly reaches into his desk and pulls out a gun and sort of just shoves it in your direction. Look, I'm sorry. I would help, but I can't. And you shouldn't be in your situation either. I'm sorry. If you're fucking lucky, it's late at night. He might not have too many of his people at his place.
I reach out to take the gun and look it over. And then I put it in my purse.
It's got a few bullets in there for you. Get off a few good shots.
Yeah. Somehow, it's a comfort. It's a familiar comfort. My dad always had a gun. It was fun shooting it in the backyard.
When I see this happen, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pat Liz on the shoulder and be like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and I look at you, kind of a grateful, but a bit drunk look. And I stand up. I kind of have to support myself on you for a bit, just to steady myself, and then take another breath, and I swig the whiskey and start going.
Fred, what do you do?
I'm gonna look over at Roger Moran one more time. Well, I do hope you get out of here safe.
The guy looks at you with a hint of pity in his eyes. He generally seems to feel worried for you. Not sure why. And then he just gets his hat on and then he just starts ushering you out, gently out of his office. He clearly wants you gone.
Yeah, I get it. We're leaving. Got about... What time is it now? Give or take?
About 10:40, 10:45. Got about an hour and 15 minutes. It's not a lot of time. However, luckily, the address is, you think, just on the other side of the strip. So, 20-30 minute drive. Hopefully you'll be at this address in time.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out my pocket watch and look at the time. We better get a move on.
Alright, yeah, get in. Before we, pull out, I'm gonna look around to see if there's any cars that have been following us.
No. You don't think so. You look around and you think everything is alright. As you get in the car, Georgette, you start driving. Do you share any of the information that you know? It occurs to you the other two don't know some of the things you know. Of course, at the same time, you might need to explain why you know those things.
Yeah, I'll take a few moments to mull it over in my head and then decide maybe to hang on to that information for a little bit.
Very well. And you begin driving. Again, to you two, Liz and Fred, other than this name in the address book, which, funnily enough, is there. Very normal seeming address of just any random person, but it is one address. There's only one Ryan Howard in Las Vegas. The name is not ringing any bells. Fred, you dimly think you may have heard the name R.H. somewhere tonight. Wasn't that an initial in those paintings? One of them had the initials. It was a painting of some sort of horrific looking face of a man with a strange sort of mark on his head. It's very weird. But otherwise it doesn't mean anything.
I'm gonna mention that out loud. Wasn't RH on one of those weird paintings over at the gallery? if he took him from there, you think he would have taken the painting that he wanted too, right?
Yeah, which one?
There's the creepy-looking guy with the mark on his forehead. That one.
Yeah, like he made it? Or like he owned it?
Made it, bought it, I don't
Well,
know.
the detective said he was a collector.
Yeah, he might have just been buying the painting, so obviously he had some connection to Mr. Starker.
You'll also remember the painting, in this case, was a sort of sketch painting. It was found hidden away. You've had to look for it. It wasn't out in the open, that one.
Alright, so it's one of the weirder ones. Either way, this guy's got strange taste.
Maybe he's some kind of wannabe artist. If it was just that sketch. And yeah. Hang on a second. Those letters we found. Those letters of admiration.
Creepy stalker letters?
Yeah, the one that wanted to meet him a lot.
Yeah.
Was there a name on those? There wasn't, right?
Not that I recall. Actually.
But they were addressed to Schiller.
Actually, you're not sure who they were addressed to. They could have been addressed to either individual, but there were a lot of them, and they had very similar handwriting.
It's probably him.
I'm inclined to agree with that thought.
With how weird tonight's been, I wouldn't put it past it. Has the rain stopped at all, or is it still going?
It's still raining, but it's a light rain. Much more normal. No more thunder. It's almost as if that storm just came and went in minutes. Like, surely you were only in that apartment all that time for like 10, 20 minutes?
I have no idea what that was about. I'm just glad the rain is a little bit more manageable now. Still assuming there's a lot of people on the strip because Las Vegas doesn't stop. And, just gonna keep looking around as we get closer to the building with the address that Ryan Howard had in the phone book. But I am gonna say out loud, if this dude is as dangerous and had as many connections that our boss knew about him, why the hell is he in an address book?
Maybe he's not worried about being found, because he's no one to be scared of.
Right. The detective had also said something about hoping that, or maybe his friends won't be there, he won't have as many people there. Maybe he has, like, guards or people watching his back often, so it's something that doesn't really keep him up at night if people know where he lives.
Well, yeah, knowing our boss, it's, something these powerful people tend to keep in their pockets is a bunch of people to keep an eye on him, so...
You know, but then again, Pickett wouldn't send us out on this if he didn't think we'd garner something from it. I mean, unless he just wants us to... You know, he could have killed us back then. What is he even hoping to get from this if this guy is so dangerous?
Well, he didn't know that Ryan Howard had Starker, or was even interested in him. He just knew that there were a few people... We knew that there were a few people going after him. So... I don't know what the hell he's trying to glean from this. He did just say we were expendable.
Yeah. That and sending out a group of people who aren't, you know, as well known as he is probably makes it easier to not have prying eyes as to what is going on.
Yeah, but surely he had more people that were a little bit more, I don't know, had more qualifications for this kind of shit.
Could be a spite thing. I mean, we did try to screw him over.
Yeah, I think it's that.
But if he actually wanted it done, you think he'd send it people with a little bit more experience? You know I'm not good with violence.
It's just his game then. He's just doing this for fun. It's just to mess us up.
Not to mention, Fred, you do find yourself recalling he was concerned about the timing. If the time is an issue for some reason, and again... He did say he didn't know it was Ryan Howard. It's possible he doesn't think he has time to send anyone else, and he did say you were expendable. You think to yourself.
It's very possible he just doesn't have the time to do it. We only got less than an hour at this point to get this shit done, so...
Yeah, why do you think that is? Why the time crunch?
I don't know. You know, Mr. Pickett, he's got information he's not sharing. It just means he doesn't want to or it doesn't seem like it's relevant. So we just gotta get it done in this amount of time and honestly just hope for the best.
I suppose that's all we can do.
But hey, if we get out of this, Georgette, you ever want to go on a date with me, just let me know as I...
Oh, shut up, I say, and I just kick the seat where you're sitting.
Doesn't take long to arrive at your next destination. This place, once again, is on the outskirts of Las Vegas. A very swanky neighborhood, lots of large, modern houses around this part. Again, they're not too many. Not many people really live in Las Vegas at this point in time, but people are building these new places, and maybe one day more people will live here. You can quickly see far down a road, surrounded by desert, a very nice looking building. It's surrounded by a big large fence, but otherwise seems to be a 2-story house of some kind. What do you do, Georgette, as you're starting to drive down the road towards this location?
I'm going to drive by and kind of look for a spot where we can park that won't be obvious, where we can be out of eyesight to anyone who might be looking out the windows of the building.
Georgette, please roll me a observe the situation. Roll your perception. Let's see what you see in this situation.
That is a 14.
Then you can ask one question. In this case, if you want to use something to your advantage, a parking spot, I would say the answer is, you think if you just stop a little bit before you get to this building, that would be best. You think if you drive too close to it, if there are people at this building, they'd notice you. After all, you are now in a bit of a remote area.
Okay. Alright, I'll stop a little ways before the building then. I think it'd be best if we try to stay out of eyesight for right now, and figure out what the situation is.
That seems about best. I mean, I'm really hoping this doesn't come to violence, but with what happened at the gallery, I have a feeling it's going to be unavoidable.
I'm kind of playing with the gun a bit lazily, thinking about tin cans. And just looking it over, making sure I understand how to use this if I have to. Yeah, I say, and I just frown and put it in my bag. Let's, roll with your diplomacy again.
As long as they don't shoot first and ask questions later.
I'm gonna look back at Liz. Would I have noticed Liz fiddling with the gun?
Liz, would she have noticed that? Are you being obvious about it?
Yeah, I maybe you notice a reflection in the from a street light or something.
I'm gonna turn and kind of look to Liz. Are you gonna be okay with that thing? I'm gonna point where she put the gun.
Yeah, I'll be good. But yeah, if they point anything at us, I'm gonna be pointing it at them.
That's the right mindset. I'm gonna hop out of the car.
Let's really hope it doesn't come to it.
Yeah, I feel a little bit drunk. But I'm trying to hide that. And I get out as well and just try and look as if I know what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna let anyone run over me at this place. Now we're so close to whatever this is.
Liz, if you'd like, you can roll me a observe the situation as you take it in.
13.
You get to ask one question. What would you like to ask about this situation?
What is my best way through this?
Liz suddenly kind of swaggers forth just a little in front of even you, Fred. Sort of just eyeing the building up ahead. Again, you're not quite there yet. It's probably another 2-3 minutes walk. You see the building. You think you can see lights on. That's interesting. There are also some street lamps in the area, but otherwise it's pretty much just you and some parked cars. You, Liz, then think you see movement. There's someone... If the building is surrounded by a big fence, you think you see someone at the front on the street, just sort of coming out onto the street, and you can just see them facing away from you right now, and they're smoking. So there's people here on the street level. You find yourself thinking, walking straight up here. If something did go wrong, anything could happen out here. It's Las Vegas. But you then notice that the building seems to have a garden. Yeah, you can see like a yard. There's like fancy palm trees and everything. Sort of just behind the main building. That fence. Could you maybe get round that way? Could you climb over the fence, climb into a garden? That might be a little more stealthy. Maybe being stealthy here would be a better approach if, as Fred is saying, you don't want violence. It's what you think to yourself.
And just as I step up, and I see this person step out in front of the building, looking the other way, I just duck down on the side and just motion for the others to do the same.
As soon as I see that, I'll quickly just kind of mimic what Liz is doing.
Okay, there's someone in front. I look around. I try to look over at sort of a car that's parked here as well. I think maybe over there, and I point towards the back of the house. Maybe we could get in through the garden. That's a guard, I think.
Well, it sure does look like one. They're looking out for something, or they're just taking a smoke break. Either way, I don't want to run into them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, so...
What do you say? Should we get into the back? I look between the two of them.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best thing to do. Knowing these rich types, especially being out in the middle of nowhere, probably it's unlocked.
It sounds like the best option we got.
Stay low. I think... Yeah, okay. He's looking away. Let's go.
Liz, if you wish to lead the way, you can, do you?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Then Liz, please roll your coolness as you quietly try and get the others to just follow you just around the back of this building. You start leaving the street. It is possible through a bit of an alleyway and some of cars. It's a bit risky, but if no one's looking at you, it's possible to get at least around to the back of this big building.
I'm terrible with these things that make me stressed. I can never keep my head cool. I suppose I get the +1 for acting on my observe the situation.
Yes.
And let's hope that and the alcohol helps to keep my head cool. That's a 6.
Yes, even an assist would not help here. You begin trying to move carefully around the building, and all three of you follow. And as you get round to the back of the building, you suddenly hear a sort of the sound of a voice, 2 or 3 voices, and you all sort of duck. And you notice, Fred, you haven't been seen, but suddenly, coming around the perimeter of the building, you're pretty sure you see someone heading your direction. You've all made it close to the building, though. You now see the back garden of this fancy house. There are lights on downstairs, 1 or 2. There's obviously a back door that leads into the house. But yes, Fred, you notice there is someone coming around. If they come all the way around, if you haven't done something, they're going to see 3 people skulking around the back of this building. What do the 3 of you do?
About, judging how much time would we have before they walk around and see us?
2 or 3 minutes. The guy's strolling.
I want to go ahead and start crouch and walking away from the direction he's coming in. Is there any other, bushes or anything we can kind of, work our way behind that he'll walk by?
There are actually some bushes and trees sort of cut off by the fence. You could duck into those.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that and wait for them to pass.
What do the other 2 do?
Yeah, honestly, if Georgette looks like she's got a plan, I'm gonna follow, because there's really no way I can talk my way out of skulking around someone's house.
Yeah, as I start leading the way at first, and then I kind of notice that Georgette is kind of taking off on her own. I might not even be noticing that these people are coming around the corner at this point, because I'm so much in my own head. I just hesitate for 1 second before I just decide to follow her instead.
And you manage to hide for the moment as a man starts just come by, whistling to himself. He's smoking a cigarette. You see he's gently holding a hand to his side, He has a holster on under his coat. You don't need to. You can't see what's in the holster, but you can probably assume what's there. He comes by the bush. Georgette. I'd like you to act under pressure here, see if you can remain quiet.
Is there any way I can assist with trying to keep Liza down?
You can, yes. So you rolled an assist roll, Fred, and you roll the main roll.
That is a 10 for Georgette.
My assist roll was a 21.
It's a +2, but sadly still not quite enough. You do manage to get Liz's head down. Liz, it's alright, you're in a bush. Fred's nearby and you can't be seen.
Yeah.
And Georgette, you're there, you're breathing hard, and you see the guy sort of just walk past. And then he just sort of mutters under his breath, looks at his cigarette, and just starts coming over towards the bush. He's not seen you, but you look around and he's probably going to throw his cigarette somewhere nearby out into the desert, not into the bush of course, but he's coming very close. What do you do?
I'm going to immediately put both hands over my mouth and try to stay as quiet as possible.
I'm gonna ready my brass knuckles. If he gets any closer, he's gonna see us. If he does, I'm gonna knock him out. If I can.
He comes very close, Liz, and then you notice, coming around from the left, a second person. You all feel you have a choice here. You can wait. Maybe these two people will just speak to each other. Maybe they'll pass by each other. But if something was going to happen, this could be the time to do something. The man closest to the bush turns to look at the person coming towards him. It looks like he's about to say something. Liz, what do?
I was about to get up when I just noticed that other man too. Well, if they start talking, then I'd better just keep out of sight if I can. All the more chance that he won't see us.
Fred, Georgette, what do?
If they're about to start talking, they look like they're about to start talking. It's the only way we might be able to gain some information without having to get into the building first and see for ourselves. So I'm gonna try to keep quiet, though I am antsy and wanting to get this over with as soon as possible.
All three of you remain where you are. And these two men meet. You now have two armed individuals, it seems, in front of you. They sort of mutter to each other. You can't really hear very well. Something along the lines of, "Yeah, they're still out. Yeah, still out. Any word on the police? Not yet. He says it won't matter in the morning. Yeah, won't matter in the morning. What's the time? 11:10. Yeah. They're chatting. All three of you in a bush, what do?
I try to see if this is a moment that we could use here and get in. I mean, if they're focused on each other, is there a possibility for us to make use of that?
You're looking at this fence. It does look pretty sturdy, but there are gaps. It could be possible to just quickly squeeze through. Again, the fence would keep most people out, but out here you think that if there's guards, their job is to secure the perimeter most of the time, so maybe the fence isn't that sturdy. Maybe you could start squeezing through, but it's going to be very dangerous. You're going to have to quickly go past these people, probably one at a time.
I just look at these gaps in the fence, and I just look at the other ones, not making a sound, shrugging.
Alright, when I see Liz starting to look at the fence like that, I'll kind of look over to Fred and gesture my head towards it and shrug as well and kind of give the look of, well.
I roll my eyes as far back as they'll roll, but I kind of get a slow nod to not rustle the leaves around me.
Alright, I'll go ahead and I'll go first as soon as there's a moment that I feel I can try and slip through.
You go. Are you going to try and just dart through this gap in the fence as quick as you can? Trying to get past these guards before they notice you. Very well. Please roll act under pressure.
15.
15 is good. With a 15, you even think you might be able to just help someone else quickly get through as well. Who do you pick?
I'll go for Liz.
Georgette. You reach out your hand to Liz. Liz, Georgette takes your hand. It's a bit strange, but there's something about Georgette that suddenly seems very confident. Georgette, what is it that you do that somehow makes this daring little act not only good for you, but good for Liz as well? Tell me.
So when I take her hand, then I'll be like, the grip will be as gentle as possible and kind of leading in like a reassuring way.
And it's a surprisingly gentle. And that was just maybe what I needed right now to calm my nerves. And I kind of don't even notice my feet kind of just lifting me off the ground as I straighten up and quickly dart together with her through the gap in the fence.
Fred, it's actually really impressive. Somehow, Georgette probably didn't think she had it in her, but she's able to lead Liz and herself quickly, quietly, stealthily through that fence. They're through. They managed to get to the other side quickly and managed to duck down in the garden. Again, the garden is full of trees and shrubs as well. The two men haven't seen them. Again, they're having an animated conversation about something, laughing every now and then, quite dark laughter. What do you do, Fred? Now it's just you outside.
If we weren't in a tense situation, I would whistle in appreciation, but I just kind of keep it to myself as I just wait for an opportunity to do the same. Hopefully I don't snag anything on the fence on my way in.
The opportunity comes. Roll act under pressure.
Oh, yes. Okay, that is a 17.
You follow straight after them. And again, all three of you have made it in. Now you're in the fence, you can still see these men, but it's easier to hide from them, you think. You've made it past the big fence. The house awaits. You can see a door leading into, you don't know where, but it must lead into a patio or something. It leads into the building at least. You're not sure if there are people inside, but maybe there won't be. What do the three of you do?
I'm gonna see if I can't skulk my way over to the door with my lockpicks and just kind of see if it's open or...
You go over to the door.
I try to just observe the situation if I can.
You can, please roll.
That's 19.
Ask 2 questions. What's your first one?
I guess... what should I be on the lookout for?
Okay. Liz, your adrenaline's up. You've made it inside. The guards probably wouldn't immediately go through a fence. To them, that would seem silly, so you have a few seconds, you think, if they did notice you. Oh, so aren't they walking around the front? They don't know you're there, but you still think you need to be aware that there are guards on the outer perimeter. As for who's inside, well, maybe just be careful. There could be more people inside, but again, it's not like this guy's got some fortress here. Maybe he's got a few goons, but maybe, these sorts of people, they don't have the goons walk around the house, sit on the furniture, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. This probably made it past the worst, I think to myself as I go with Fred as he advances towards the door. And then as he picks out his lockpicks and gently starts feeling if it's already unlocked, I'd like to ask what seems strange about this.
There's music playing. As you come to the door, you can hear music playing from inside the house. You can smell something on the air, like incense or something. It's a little strange.
But maybe to our advantage. As I see Fred sort of start doing that, and I say, it seems like they're doing something inside. There's music. should be fine, right? And I look back towards Georgette.
As she mentions the music, I just kind of pause with the lockpicks in hand, and I take a listen. Is it the same kind of music that was playing in the gallery when we showed up there?
No, this is classical. Playing on a record. Not sure which classic musician, but sort of like... Is it opera, actually? Do you know opera?
Nah, I'm not big on music. Not this kind. I prefer swing.
Precisely. You think you've heard an opera. You have no idea what, but it sounds like that. Some lady or a man bellowing things in some language you don't understand.
While that's going on, are there any windows nearby?
No, the house conspicuously doesn't have any windows on the bottom floor. The lights you were seeing seem to be coming from one or two windows above you. It is a 2-story building.
Alright, so is the door I'm trying locked, or is it open?
No, it opens.
Oh, well, shit. I pocket the lockpicks again and just kind of wait a couple seconds to see if I hear any footsteps or talking besides this ghastly music, and I will then open the door enough to be able to go in if I don't hear anything.
You go in. Do the other two follow?
Yes.
All 3 of you enter this building, and you find yourself suddenly in quite interesting surroundings. You seem to be in a gallery again, although this one is larger than Starker's gallery. The reason there are no windows is because the wall space here is covered in paintings. Some of these paintings look a little familiar if you have expertise in the art world, but mainly it just seems a collection. There's also a couple of display cases in the middle of this big chamber you find yourself in with strange artifacts, swords and shields and tablets. All very interesting. There's no one in this room. It's quite large. There is a hallway leading somewhere on the right, and then there is a big door as well leading from this room. The music is playing. You think it's coming from behind that door on the left? Yes. Sort of just echoing through the building. Doesn't seem to be anyone here. Although, it's a bit strange because the lights aren't on. Instead, the light you're seeing that's illuminating everything is candlelight. There are candles everywhere, just arranged around the paintings, arranged around various things.
You know, you'd think that was a fire hazard.
You would think. Apparently, the man really likes his candles and his collections of artwork. If you can call it that, looking around at the paintings.
It looks pretty good. Granted, tonight all 3 of you have seen a couple of paintings that were really good. Especially that one of the woman. You find yourself thinking, Liz, these are good. These are alright. Normal. Probably very valuable.
I'm gonna kind of look towards the direction of the hallway. Do you think we should check that out first, or should we just go straight for the doors?
Yeah, let's go where the music is playing. We gotta hurry now.
Alright, I'm gonna take my gun from my holster again and just keep it down at my side.
Yeah, I take the one I got out as well. Okay, I wonder what he's gonna do to him, and why it won't matter after midnight. I mean, what do you think? Is he gonna, sacrifice him? He's gonna kill him? And then...
I don't know if the candles are that spooky. Maybe it's more of like a ransom thing. Maybe someone has until midnight. Something of that matter. I'm not sure, but hopefully we're about to find out.
Although, Georgette, when Liz starts talking about those things, they're ludicrous, of course, but you know people who have spoken to you about such things. All in jest, of course, all in lounges while smoking and drinking.
So you had said that there were candles. Were they placed on the floor, or are they like sconces?
They're in sconces, so the fire hazard is slightly less bad.
So yeah, after I draw my gun, I'm just gonna kind of look to the both of them and wait for the signal to start advancing on the door.
Who goes to open the door first?
I'll go ahead and feel and see if it's unlocked. Kind of gently turn the knob.
You do. The door opens, and it opens onto a large study. There's a big, old-fashioned desk. There's bookshelves, books upon books upon books. There's crates of things. Again, quite interesting accessories on the walls. All these weapons and shields. And there's a record player playing this music nice and loudly. And at the back of the room, you think there's a large black curtain. It seems to be covering that wall. You can't see what's beyond the curtain right now, but that is the room you see before you.
I'm gonna look back to the other two. Those cards had said something about how they're not back yet, right? So maybe we have some time to kind of snoop around.
Yeah, and I just nod towards that curtain.
Yeah, Fred's begrudgingly grabbed the stiletto out of his back pocket and had it out and ready to flip open at a moment's notice, but he just kind of fingers it in his hands while he walks over, hoping the music will cover the sound of his footsteps and will pull back the curtain slightly to see what's behind it.
You start pulling back this curtain. One thing you notice immediately just before you do is you kind of almost trip on it. There's been something put in front of the curtain. A bunch of boxes and paintings. Odd. You've just seen a bunch of paintings put on the walls quite nicely, but these ones are just stacked here. And you look at them and you notice you and Liz and Georgia. It's a painting of all three of you. You can't see all the details yet, you'd have to look a little more, but what do? Do you continue pushing the curtain aside, or do you look at this painting?
No, hell no, I'm gonna look at that painting, because what the hell is going on here?
This is a beautiful painting. It's not like that sketch you saw earlier this evening. This is a fully finished painting. The brushwork is, again, something about it almost moves. It's all three of you. And if the others look, they'll see immediately as well. It's all three of you. You're all standing, armed, in some sort of darkness. Around your legs are strange symbols. And you're all standing around some sort of stone altar? And on the altar is a person, and they're slumped on the altar, and before the altar is some tall man with some sort of hood. It's all rather surreal. But again, it's you three. Definitely.
So, when Georgette looks at this painting, would she notice anything particularly occult about it? Would anything ring any bells in her mind?
With your skill set, we shall say. Are those magic circles? Your brain immediately laughs a little because it's such a silly word, but you've spoken with people about them. They've interested you. People who say, draw these circles and it's real magic, not rabbits out of hat magic. Far older stuff.
I'm going to. Georgia will go up and kind of feel the painting a little bit where the circles are. This has got to be some sort of sick game.
Yeah. Are they doing it for us? What are we meant to be doing? I say to myself, not really knowing what that means.
I don't get it, but it's a good painting of us. Hell, if we get out of here, take it with us.
It kind of creeps me out.
It's entirely creepy, and the fact that there's pictures of us, not on just one occasion, but two, makes me think that there's something else going on here, and I don't quite get it. I don't know if I want to. All I know is that this hood figure is kind of creeping me out, but does it look like the person on the altar is the same build as the person we're trying to find?
Hard to tell. They're facing away. They seem to be bound. But maybe.
Is there any initials on who made this one?
You look behind the painting. CS.
Christian. He made it. This is probably one of the missing ones from the gallery. Heck, maybe all of these are.
You do recall there were some missing spaces on the walls there, yes?
Yeah, but why would they be here on the floor and not out there?
Does that mean something to you? I say as Georgette is touching that circle.
Liz and Fred, you've noticed that Georgette is looking quite intently at this painting.
Well, I won't lie. I'll pull my fingers away from it. I do kind of like to dabble in the occult. These circles in the painting look ritualistic, almost. It's strange.
I send a glance at Fred, like, I knew it. I knew she was into something. And I just look back at you, Georgette, with a silly grin as if I've figured something out.
There's a huge eye roll from Fred. Listen, I've known people who are weird and are into some kinkier shit than that, so we're just... Listen, you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it after this. This is all too weird. So anything of this ring a bell to you other than the fact that it's creepy?
I mean, I have a circle of friends, you could say, who are into the same sort of thing as me, and this, Howlett person has been brought up before. Just known to be a avid collector, and it's all I can really say.
Right, well, just, well, let's see what's in here then. I don't know what we're supposed to do, but if you guys get an idea, that just be sure to share.
Oh yeah, will do. I don't think I keep any of this to myself anyway. At least there's no sinks full of eyes. As I go to pull back the black curtain to see if there's anything on the wall behind it.
You pull back the curtain. Behind the curtain is a wall. The wall is covered in strange spiraling patterns, strange text, strange pictures. To you, Liz, and to you, Fred, it's incomprehensible. To you, Georgette, it's strange, but you think you've seen some of these things before, although not like this, and certainly not in such a unsettling manner. At the center of this wall is a black square doorway, but there is no door. It's just a black square almost in the wall, and you can see what looks like stairs, but there's something very strange about this doorway.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Role-Playing, where we played the adventure Gallery of Souls for KULT Divinity Lost. Gallery of Souls was written by Magnus Sæther for the second edition of KULT, and was just translated by our own Matthias and re-released for KULT Divinity Lost by our friends at Helmgast. Go to kultdivinitylost.com to download your copy. Joining Craig and Hjalmar was Nikita Cake from Devil's Luck Gaming and Jaded Jester from Near Dark Studios. Check them both out if you need more high-quality role-playing in your life. The music was made by Atrium Carceri and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody, dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, David Hagberg, and Camilla for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for KULT Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play KULT with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, death is only the beginning.